Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer for 2020. I'm Atlas, and I'm joined by the wonderful Valdanalist here for this wonderful Saturday of more LCK action. It's the second last day of Week 2, and we get to check in on good old Gen.G, see how they're going to perform up against SeolHaeOne Prince, and then Damwon, their most recent prey, get to try and show their stuff up against KT, who have looked a little bit better after what was a rough first week.
Yeah, I think they're really coming into their own. It'll be interesting to see how they do up against Damwon, but of course we do have to address this first match. When I saw the matchup for today, honestly, I thought it was one of the days where it's most likely to get 2-0-2-0. I think Gen.G is actually looking really solid right now, as is Damwon on their big come up here in summer. So it's really going to be up to these underdogs to try to change my mind and do something better than what they've been doing so far.
Yeah, and I think if there are two teams that are going to play spoiler, I think SeolHaeOne Prince and KT are pretty good examples of that. So I don't know about the 2-0-2-0. I think a betting man would probably assume that that's the most likely. But, you know, spanners have been thrown in the works quite a bit here at the beginning of summer. So let's go over points of the match. SeolHaeOne Prince lost 2 matches in a row, but their spirit never dies. Yeah, this is a really weird team. Mickey's only played champions one time so far. 8 different outings, 8 different champions. There's been Alawi bans. We've seen Volley Bears running around the top side of the map. It's been a fun time for SeolHaeOne Prince, but it hasn't been a successful time, which is a little bit unfortunate. Shield versus Spear matchup on the top side of the map. Not sure whether that's entirely true, but Ixu, who has the strongest tenacity in the LCK, versus Rascal, who drew blood from Noguri.
I'm curious as to what exactly that means, but
yeah,
it's great to have good tenacity, so at least Ixu's got that going for him.
Nailed it. We found a positive stat. We got there.
Yeah. And SeolHaeOne Prince, they do have a pretty rough schedule ahead of them. I think if they added in Damwon on top of that, it would make it a little bit harder, but still, they're playing up against pretty much the top 5 teams in the LCK. As we take a look at some of the stats here, first blood percentage really high for a team that is down there at 1-2, first in the league.
Yeah, certainly showing that SeolHaeOne Prince do play fast and loose when it comes to the early stages, and then unfortunately it feels like they fall off a cliff. I think the perfect example of SeolHaeOne Prince and how they play in the early summer split is just to watch their game where Mickey picked Zed.
Yeah.
And they got like 3 kills in the early game and proceeded to just lose the game. It was, I don't know. It was a little bit depressing, but let's see whether they can turn it around, because Hybrid is still very, very talented. We'll see whether they can use him to get themselves towards a victory. But this is what we have to talk about. Kuma is taking Flawless's spot in the jungle. This guy joined, I think, in 2019, back when they were, of course, APK Prince. He played a few games before Flawless made it over to Korea from China, and we haven't seen anything from him since. But now Flawless is taking a bit of a step back, and we'll see whether Kuma's going to be able to face off effectively against Clid, a jungler who he's been looking up to for quite some time.
Yeah, Clid, obviously a big name on the roster, but they are a roster full of big names. There you got Rascal, BDD, Ruler, and Light alongside of him. And Gen.G, they've had only 2-1s, but it's up against really strong teams, DRX, KT, and then Damwon, of which they did defeat the 2, most recent teams, I suppose you could say, as this is the key player matchup, the player with the most tenacity up against Rascal.
I actually think that Rascal's been performing very, very well this season. I think in Gen.G's victories, I think a lot of it does hinge around Rascal. He picked up player of the game alongside Ruler in their most recent series, which was up against Damwon, a team that we were touting as a very exciting one to watch. That was actually a great series, and we get to see from both of those teams and how they've bounced back after it. And I think that Rascal is certainly going to be very difficult for Ixu to handle in today's match. I think Ixu's Volley Bear was utterly forgettable. I think that he had a good Gragas game. You know, that was fun to watch in their only victory. But this is the gentleman that we were talking about before,
cool.
Kuma.
I like this kind of introduction plate that we got down there at the bottom. Born 2000, November 14th. His name is Park Hyung-yu. And his most played champions are only aggressive stuff. So it'll be cool to see if he actually pulls it out. I was looking at some of the stats actually so far for Summer. Nidalee, that one champion there that you see in the front, is currently 6-1. So actually having a lot of success so far are the Nidalee players. I could take a look at the Lee Sin ranking. Lee Sin,
let's not.
Kind of a famous pick right now.
Can we not?
He's 3-6. Not great.
Okay, that's a 50% win rate. Wait, no,
what?
That's a 33.33 repeating win rate.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick to
you got
commentary.
there.
I'm not going to do mathematics.
Yeah, math on cast is generally not a good idea.
That was actually just the word. Oh my god. Okay. Kuma, though, he is a self-proclaimed Talia jungler as well. Does like to get around the map on picks like that. He's been looking up to Clid. And is also pretty good friends with Kuri, the support substitute for T1. And apparently, he doesn't get nervous. But he also hasn't played in the LCK. So let's see whether that is going to change here today, especially up against Clid, a jungler that he's looked up to for a very long time. I think as far as like making a debut is concerned, this is a real difficult one. And if he does play pretty cool, calm, and is able to walk away with the victory, then yeah, 100%. I'll agree that he's not suffering from any nerves. But let's get into the match and see what's going to happen as pick and ban is upon us. Let's see what's going to be taken away here.
Yeah, the drafts so far in recent times have been, some of them have been really good, some of them have been kind of atrocious. We saw T1 game 1, that one's kind of going to go down in history, and maybe it'll be the turning point away from Lee Sin, but we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, everything about that draft was just terrible, to be honest.
Especially into the Aphelios.
Yeah.
That's another key point here in the draft. You only have so many bans. Are both Ezreal and Aphelios going to make it out? Are they going to go for trades? Are we going to see Kalista? Kalista, another, actually already banned, so we're not going to be seeing Kalista. She has a very strong win rate already, 7-2.
Yeah, she's been doing very well.
It's taken away.
Set's going to be banned. Gen.G, I don't think you can ban Aphelios or Ezreal here if you're thinking about playing them. I don't know how Rule is going to feel about the matchup, though. He is a very good Ezreal player. He might be one of the Ezreals that we'd be okay with. As I wonder how much collective design experience we're going to be experiencing in our first pick.
A lot is, I think, the answer. There's also Trundle that's sticking out there. Korean teams love to first pick him, even though he doesn't have a lot of flexibility. And so we are going to see Aphelios' first pick here. It's Hybrid's most played. He's played 4 games of it already. And immediately Gen.G say, let's keep our distance and try to slow down that Aphelios from the get-go.
Yep. Trundle and Ashe, the Freljordian couple, to be picked up here in the first 2 on the red side. Yeah, there's absolutely no surprises here. This is Ruler, who does like to default back to the Ashe when all of the big picks have been banned away. And I think does okay into the Aphelios matchup. You can, like you were talking about, keep your distance. Whether it's actually going to work after these compositions have been fleshed out, that's where things really get interesting. We know that our friend LS likes to talk about comps that just run straight into Aphelios. Our LCK teams have not necessarily figured out how best to do that, as SeolHaeOne Prince looking at locking away some vision control, but decide to move away from that in favor of more pick options in the Syndra. And that is going to be... Yeah, we're continuing. So that, what is that? 9 unique champions so far for Mickey?
In a row.
Assuming that he's going to be playing it, but I don't think Syndra is going to slot into any other lane with the Aphelios picked up already, as we are only Freljord. For the lore buffs out there, we're going to be super psyched about how Freljordian we're going in our first 3 picks for Gen.G. And it's summer here, remember guys, very hot in Korea, and I really do like a bit more of an icy theme.
Great. Yeah, it's they're getting that buff now. The 3 glacial.
So what do we need? We need It can be Ornn. Ornn is, I think, he at least lives on the mountain. He's in a forge, so it's a bit more of a hotter vibe.
Yeah,
I think he's in Freljord. Volibear's another option. Anivia.
Anivia. Let's get Anivia.
I think Anivia into Syndra sounds like an awful idea.
It's great
but
against
I think you have
Aphelios,
to, right?
But I think you're right. We're probably not going to be seeing Anivia. I love that SeolHaeOne Prince did not mess around and they just immediately banned Azir, by the way. They were like, no, you're not playing Azir. We're not letting you play Azir. And I don't think any team should let BDD play Azir ever again.
Yep, he's very good at that one. I actually think that, actually considering it, maybe Anivia wouldn't be that bad into the Syndra, just make it a farm lane. But we'll see. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
I know that because LS has been talking about Anivia from time to time.
Yeah.
Which is why I bring it up.
She pops her head up every once in a while here in the LCK. I believe Kuro played it in spring. There was someone who played it in spring.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get that one game in summer. As LeBlanc, Galio going to be taken off the board, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't think the Galio would have fit too well if you're trying to, play against Aphelios, but the LeBlanc, I suppose, is granted, even though it's not fantastic into the Syndra lane as, okay, Taliyah.
All right, we have gone to the desert.
And that's Taliyah mid. I mean, the Trundle is going to be going jungle, I would assume.
Yep, kind of has to, unless you're going to be playing at top lane, which is unlikely.
Yeah, whoa.
So this is definitely an old one. Interesting that we were talking about Kuma being a Taliyah main, and then BDD just decides to pick it up.
Yeah, and she has the skin, actually, where she is like Winter Taliyah.
That's true.
I don't know what the name of it is, but she's more snowy than...
We're going to call it Freljordian Holiday.
Okay.
To join all of her friends in Ashe, Trundle, and Braum. Still checks out, guys, as far as our lore comp is concerned. That's another blind Mordekaiser from Ixtu this time around. It has been a champion that he's defaulted to. We'll see whether it's going to be his Nashor's Tooth into Rageblade itemization again.
Rakan, I don't know about that. The Lulu is pretty interesting. It's a range support into the bottom side against Braum, which is generally good, and it also offers some nice support options for the Aphelios. You can pick up Ardent Sensor eventually. And what is going to be the choice here for Gen.G?
We're doing it.
This feels like a Rascal pick. Rascal's most picked actually is Malphite, but I don't think you're going to pick that into this lane.
We're going, this is Taliyah's Freljordian Holiday. That's what we're calling this composition. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for listening. Gen.G just nailing it 100%. And BDD back on an old pick that was an old favorite of his. He was one of our fantastic Taliyah players. I think this was back when, at the beginning of UCal's time as well. It was a few years ago now, but it was when they were sort of trading back when it came to the best Taliyahs in the LCK. So we'll just have to see how it goes. It's been a while since we've had Taliyah.
Yeah, that's really the question mark on the draft. I think the rest of it is pretty granted. It offers you some nice hard engage. But let's first talk about the side of SeolHaeOne Prince. They have a lot of damage already, and it's good mixed damage as well. You got Aphelios and Rek'Sai for the AD, you got Syndra and the Mordekaiser for the AP, so it's not like they're stacking AP with Mordekaiser like we saw yesterday, which was kind of sad. And then on the opposite side, you have lots of engage options. Taliyah's going to be really happy with this composition, by the way. She loves hard CC to follow up with the seismic shove and get that burst combo. And everybody, the Syndra is going to be very vulnerable. So I like the idea they have some range against the Aphelios as well, and they don't necessarily have to hard engage into him. So I think they have navigated this pretty well coming into game number one.
I think it's looking like a decent anti-Aphelios style of composition, but we'll just have to see how it does shape up. The amount of long-range pick that you get from an Ashe composition, and then the follow-up that you can then add onto it with the Call of the Forge God, Glacial Fissure, and even the Seismic Shove coming out from BDD, they have a lot of pick power. But the same can be said on the side of SeolHaeOne Prince.
He went the correct skin, by the way.
Of course. We can always trust Gen.G. to understand how to correctly formulate their composition based on the theme. That's also Junkyard Trundle, my personal favorite Trundle skin. Used to be better, of course, pre-rework, which was, I think, now like 5 years ago, when he had his pink Converse shoe. I think I talk about this every single time.
We love hearing it every single time, Atlas.
Thanks, Brendan. Bit of an invade happening here, though.
Yeah, it was like the fake run back, but they're spotted now. And they will be taking this. You'll notice that Kuma and Ixu are up here on the enemy red.
Oh, we going to spot it? We are. Clid's going to eat the ward.
Jump.
Yep, as BDD surfs on over. Gonna have a look. Yeah, see, he was a bit of a Taliyah player back in the day. 23-6, ain't a bad win rate. Don't need to do the math myself, thankfully. So 79.3 is going to be the percentage for those of you playing at home with a 9.5 KDA. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Very, very large. Now he's just going to walk up to Mickey and straight up misses Q.
That's really awkward, although nice dodge there on that one. It's phase rush against phase rush, which is pretty cool. And they're going to be very swift here in the mid lane. But Mickey's going to win because he didn't take Scorch.
Ah, that's true.
GG.
Well, he's going to gather some storms. We'll see whether that's going to work out.
BDD took attack speed on Taliyah, which is pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of the time when you do your combo, you're not autoing too much, but it does help proc phase rush. So, and it's also not bad for lane. So it's a pretty interesting pick there.
It's a really good trade coming out for Mickey. He's going to get a corrupting potion charge. BDD just putting the pebbles down and just going to be smacking away at these minions in the mid lane. Does have some support of Clid, as Mickey will land yet another one. And yeah, it's threaded volley not necessarily working for BDD. Seismic shove lands though, and he's down to 200 now. Lands that one as the heal comes out from BDD. He's looking to try and trade this one back, but not able to quite get there.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he canceled an auto. It looked kind of weird, maybe when he was going to press his heal. That is what happened, as he's just going to get the jungler to come on in here. Clid will help push so he can get a decent back timing. Not perfect, but he'll at least get there. Taliyah's got her passive to get back to lane a little bit faster. So not the biggest deal in the world.
Yep, should be okay. Sort of similar to the old Hecarim idea, where you could feel free to go back to base, especially when home guard boots were a thing, and that laning Hecarim could exist. As Rascal's going to searingly charge that particular creep, take it down currently as the minion waves do clash once again. Things pretty even up there towards the top side, but Ixu's been trading pretty well. We'll see how it continues to go. As we have a look towards the bottom side, and Ruler is just crushing Sigma Hybrid right now.
Yeah. When I looked at the lineup and I saw this bottom lane matchup, I know that I think it was the top lane was the key players, but Hybrid versus Ruler, I think, is a huge matchup to talk about in this game, because Hybrid has been, for a long time, the hard carry of this team, but I feel like it gets entirely neutralized by Ruler. And this should be, in my opinion, one of the harder matchups for SeolHaeOne Prince, just because of the bot lane difference that feels apparent to me. They've also gone for a lane that effectively does neutralize just in the champions, with Ashe Braum up against Aphelios. So I think Gen.G can look for some big advantages down in that bottom lane.
Yeah, we'll see whether it is going to work out. You'd think that Lulu would help, just given the fact that she's ranged. But hasn't been so far. But I think this minion wave is going to crash, and then SeolHaeOne Prince should be able to get back to relatively even as far as the farm. But it's 20 CS in the lead so far, and there weren't 20 minions in that wave. So still going to be Ruler with a decent advantage.
Yeah, I think it's like the Lulu will definitely help, but Ruler's just so good, especially at lane, that it's on the Ashe you can be so obnoxious in the early game that you just effectively can deny a lot of CS, you can push them back, because her volley is just so massive, as they're just dodging everything at the same time. Hybrid not really able to get much effective damage down.
Yep, that Inferno was pretty good, as now BDD continuing the trades. Very fast with that phase rush, as you mentioned earlier. And Gen.G off the back of having all of that pressure on bottom lane, just going to take away the first Drake of the game. Mountain Drake, absolutely fantastic for this squad, given the fact that they're the ones with the Trundle and the Ornn. Buff up those stats even further, probably with like the Soul or something like that, but not going to happen. Our Soul options are going to be either Cloud or the Infernal. So, of course, it's probably going to be Cloud.
Always seems to be that way. Clid is just saying hello.
Yep.
Not much doing there, not able to steal any Raptors or anything like that. He was able to already get ahead of Kuma, just casually. I think he shared some of the mid lane XP. Although when I saw the XP, BDD was still even with Mickey. Maybe it was because he was pushing.
It might not have got a back timing that was as good. As you can see, teleport hasn't been used by Mickey, so might have missed a couple of creeps on his way back to the lane or something like that. We have to go back to what... Okay, never mind. Who's going to find Clid?
Ooh, thought maybe he'd go for the ult, but that would be a little bit too far down. He can get called a Forge God in from top lane.
So, I do want to talk about some sort of... We have to remember Taliyah mid strategies, right? As, oh my...
It's the Freljord composition. They freeze.
I mean, that is the one thing that they definitely should be able to do. As they also have a lot of terrain to put down.
You'll eventually get to talk about whatever.
Yeah, I know, right?
That you were going to talk about. Maybe now's the time.
Yeah, I think we could possibly do it now. If you have a look, there is a lot of vision here that Clid's been able to put down, even able to utilize it to try and grab himself a red buff. But these were the Taliyah wards, very similar to things like Aurelion Soul wards. And when you walk really, really fast, like Taliyah does, if you get this bottom side river control, you can threaten almost at any stage. And Secret and Hybrid need to play as they are now, which is very defensively. And you can see BDD currently in Fog of War, and that means that Secret and Hybrid are not allowed to approach this wave.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
It's so annoying, especially when you combine it with a freeze. I mean, Ruler almost had that cannon die as well. He was almost able to deny a cannon, which would have been fantastic. Take a look at the CS difference down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's
pretty insane.
In goes Kuma, they're flashing forward. They do get the arrow out from Ruler, who's now just trying to kite this Rek'Sai. Void Rush comes in as life brings him over to the turret, as now the teleports are going to come forward. Frost Shot working out. Kuma's going to go for first blood as now the Death Realm comes in. They should be able to trade as Rascal. There's the call of the Forge God. He will be able to get a couple of knockups, but he's still in that Death Realm and will be taken down as soon as he pops back out, and that's Aphelios picking up the first kill for SeolHaeOne. Prince in that 1-for-1.
Might not be over. BDD's coming down.
Yeah, Seismic Shove comes in. That's the Death Grasp. Zixu pulls back the Taliyah. Pebbles go down, and that is going to get a teleport out of life, who does have the Unsealed Spellbook, of course. And so no further engagement. As Clid's on the top side of the map, just trying to clear out his jungle.
I thought maybe he'd pick up some of that free XP and gold, but...
yeah, that cannon just went begging.
I guess not. That's kind of interesting. He really wanted to clear out his jungle. If you look at his jungle, he has every single camp. So I suppose, in a way, makes a little bit of sense, but you're still missing out on that. He wants that momentum. Take a look at this. This is a nice setup by Kuma as Life, the perfect support, willing to get in front and give his life.
That was actually extraordinary, the amount of value we got out of Unbreakable there.
Yeah. And then Ixu, you know, his teleport was on point here. He's able to trade it back onto Rascal and even give the kill over to one of the carries. Either Mickey or Hybrid is ideal in that situation. And yeah, just ends up being a 1-for-1 with tons of teleports and summoners used in that entire trade.
Ruler running up 1 versus 2, did have life in his back pocket. As now BD finds some spare time with the turret. Will be able to get himself a plate and sneak back into the Fog of War. And as you can see, Gen.G, their Taliyah play certainly still on point, as they do have all of that vision towards the bottom side. And that's why, as you can see, continuous to see Secret and Hybrid playing pretty far back. No flashes available. And no more teleports up for the SeolHaeOne Prince. Solo lanes, so a lot of respect needs to be given here. So even more of a CS gap is going to be incurred. 40 CS in the lead as CS a minute working out perfectly here for Ruler so far. And they are going to be able to get themselves yet another Drake. And good Dragon stats before this game.
Yeah.
Is going to continue.
It's kind of interesting that SeolHaeOne Prince aren't really challenging that at all. And I think they have the ability, but maybe it's the pick power that we were, well, that's going to go wide. Here we go again.
Yep, the wall is going to block them off. And remember, as we mentioned, there is no flashes. Seismic Shove is going to say goodbye to the Lulu. And the Aphelios is just dead. That was way too easy.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so easy, and you're thinking, wow, okay, great setup by Gen.G, but they saw them doing Dragon, and you have to know that Ashe, you know, all these players are going to be able to easily engage, as Kuma is being a little bit annoying up here. But, yeah, they were just too far down the lane. You were talking about how carefully they were playing. They needed to continue with that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you're not safe, even if you're close to your tower, because of that Weaver's Wall. That does come in here. And once the wall goes down, I think they immediately realize, they're like, oh, we're screwed. It's nothing else, just really straightforward.
Yeah, perfect timing there from BDD as well. Made sure that the wall was there for exactly the time that it needed to be. And it was just all too easy. Feeling elementary here as they start off this game on Gen.G's side, but I don't think this is bad play out of SeolHaeOne Prince necessarily. I think we do need to congratulate Gen.G from playing out exactly how their composition is supposed to operate at this point in time. As I praise them, Clit is going to get snared, and Life is going to lose half of his health bar. Grima will take away his Rift Scuttler, and as I was talking about, the Cloud Drake, of course, is what we're going to be gifted with as our Dragon Soul. Mickey just going 1 versus 3. River's going to come in. Unbreakable's going to block the orbs, so Clit does stay alive. Ruler going 1v1 against Hybrid, who throws down the ulti, but oh, that's it. Ah, dear. Yeah. I was about to say that Ashe was going to be able to win the 1v1, but I don't have 200 years of experience, and I didn't know.
Yeah, Aphelios knew.
Yeah.
Hybrid knew. Immediately cleansed what was probably the arrow and just got to work. He had Crescendum up. It was the perfect weapon. Really not sure why Ruler took that trade. You have to know that nobody defeats 200 years in a 1v1. Even though, I mean, we take a look at the items too. Neither of them have a completed item, so maybe if there was like an item difference, he could have forced it, but Ruler just a little bit overconfident in that trade, and he gets punished. As we'll take another look here. We get the cool camera angle. He's up a level, so maybe that's part of the reason. The instant cleanse from Hybrid.
Yeah, that was Captain Jack.
Yeah.
We're going to have a look at it play out here.
나이스!
Whoa.
나이스! 나이스! 이우준! 나이스! 이거지! 트런들 위치 찾았고! 트런들 위치 찾았어! 트런들 위치 찾았어!
와드야? 살려 살짝.
we found Trundle. He's just like, yeah, that's the way to do it. Good old
like,
Ixu.
Yeah, I feel like Ixu is like part-time top laner, part-time cheerleader for the team. Every time you have a listen in, it's always Ixu yelling something encouraging. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
It's a mask off on the top side of the map, by the way. First item, Leandri's. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. Only built that. That's it. That's all he was thinking about.
Awesome. I mean, you're going to have some really nice burn with that, and the thing that Mordekaiser loves is extended trades, right? He gets his passive up, and it's just a great item to pick up. He's going to rush it and feel pretty good about himself there. Yep. We'll have to see the efficacy of this pick a little bit later on in the game. It can be interesting, especially against Talia and Ashe in the mid game. Should be able to just, click on them and probably 100-0 them, because without their protection of Ornn, Braum, Trundle, you're not going to be feeling pretty good, especially Talia in that trade in the Death Realm.
Yeah, I actually feel like there is certainly some added value here to the Mordekaiser. I think There was a keen Mordekaiser pick yesterday that we raised our eyebrows at just a little bit.
Yeah.
This one makes a little bit of sense because Gen.G do have a composition that likes to rely on each other, right? It's very sort of team fight based. You want to layer these ultimates. And you can take one piece of that puzzle out by just putting someone in the Death Realm and causing them to not be as much of an issue. So we'll see whether it is going to be Ruler that's going to be his target, who is going to find an arrow onto Secret here. Hybrid's going to move on up, though, as another Weaver's Wall comes down. Teleport immediately from Rascal.
Oh, boy.
And Secret should be taken down. Hybrid is in the alcove, exactly not where he wants to be, and Rascal bought exactly the right amount of time. Death Realm comes in, though. Life should be falling, but it looks like Ixu is going to find himself in amongst 4 people and seismically shoved back into Gen.G's waiting arms. Mickey and Kumar underneath the turret, not going to be able to do anything.
Mickey got some pretty sick stuns with this Syndra. He didn't ult anyone, though, which is a little bit weird. I'll have to take a look at the replay for that one. But Gen.G, after, again, using their composition really well, they get the picks from downrange. They're going to go ahead and try to get onto this dragon, though Mickey here, with his ultimate still, was considering stopping them, but is just not going to get in range, and that will be now Cloud Drake's sole points for the next one. As, yeah, I mean, it was difficult. The flash from Secret, too, was kind of interesting. He flashed down the wall instead of above it. He's like, well, I'm stuck in here with my team. I guess I kind of just have to stick around and try to keep Hybrid alive. But he immediately gets burst down. They don't have the wild growth for Hybrid. He gets isolated. They lose all of that Aphelios damage. And take a look at Mickey, 3-man stun. And he's just like, well, I'm not going to ult Horn, so I'm just not going to do it. Even there, he could have stepped forward, but he was playing it so carefully.
볼만할 것 같은데? 신데라도 테런?
We're going to have a look at BDD as he places his wall down. I think they just knew that this was going to be
룰루부터 룰루 노공
Gen.G.
Start with Lulu. That's what they said.
천천히 앞에부터 오케이 정리야 차견 오른쪽 나 만화 없고
It's a really nice seismic shove as another wall to come down here as Clit is very, very low and is just going to be taken down by the Syndra and the turret. BDD now sitting at about 400 health, but the Void Rush is going to be baited. Another flick into a kill. And yeah, you might be able to get a pick off onto the Trundle, but Gen.G just have a better team fighting comp.
Yeah, and they're really far ahead now.
Hybrid was top lane as well.
Yeah, they don't have their damage, right? It's only really Mickey. Once you lose the Rek'Sai, the Mordekaiser's not going to be able to 1v4. Ixu getting in there a little bit late looked pretty silly, to be honest. Very, they're not playing as a team, SeolHaeOne Prince, which is pretty obvious when we do see their team fighting, whereas Gen.G are, again, they're so strong this summer. I'm really impressed by their play so far. As we're going to see how this all started, Ruler had to flash away, actually, because he would have gotten ulted and killed had he not. And then Mickey goes for the face check. And it's like this in-between the turrets play that Clade kind of just gets baited into. And it looks bad at the start for BDD, but he heals up, and Ixu's a little bit too late to the party. He's not able to Death Realm anybody because he just gets stunned down and killed immediately, bursts down. So, did look kind of silly. Gen.G flexing a bit under the turrets.
Yep, close to a 4,000 gold lead now, 2.5 minutes until that Cloud Soul will be available for Gen.G. And SeolHaeOne Prince just need to wake up a little bit, I think, as Weaver's Wall is going to deny Shirley for a little while. As the minions on a bit of a walkabout, as you can see. Shirley's going to follow. It's like, guys, is this where we're going? This is where I parked my car? She will find a place to park her forehead, at least, as she will take down that outer turret in the mid lane. Bit of a vacation, I liked it, BDD. Allowing minions and Shirley to see parts of the rift that they wouldn't have otherwise known. Just beautiful.
Giving her some extra time.
I think goes back to our lore conversation as well about Talia's Freljordian vacation as well.
Yeah.
Allows the minions to go on a vacation. Just beautiful. I love how it all just comes together. Shout out to Gen.G as well. They have made some adjustments to their attire today, and will be representing Black Lives Matter as well with the little pin that you can see on their shoulder.
They've got like a patch
there. Yeah.
Saw it on Twitter. Pretty cool to see. from one of the orgs out here.
Shout out to Arnold. He let me know this morning what they were going to be doing there.
Arnold gets some points, I suppose.
Definitely does. Or already had a few.
Yeah.
Fantastic episode of Hog State with himself and Joe Marsh from over in T1. The two of them came on and spoke very candidly with LS and I. So if you didn't see that, make sure you check it out.
Yeah.
If you want to hear more about Arnold Herr, the COO of Gen.G, or of course Joe Marsh, the CEO of T1.
Yeah. And they both got some pretty good teams. I mean,
yeah,
Gen.G is really exciting to watch, and BDD just casually flipping out the Taliyah out of nowhere. I mean, we saw Taliyah yesterday from Haru in the jungle, and it made you just think that we should never see this pick. It was like, oh, that's why we never see Taliyah jungle anymore. And then I was like, okay, you know, I love Taliyah. I used to play
her a lot.
One trick her, you know, she's very fun.
Oh, Rascal looking to try and get them out of the fight here as Ixu does put down the Death Realm, but this is the wrong kind of Death Realm. This is the one that you put yourself in, and it's going to be the end of you. BDD's going to finish him off there. I think Rascal, like, target selection on that ultimate was absolutely fantastic. Made sure that Hybrid was too slow, couldn't follow up, and then Ixu finds himself in an impossible scenario. As I feel like SeolHaeOne Prince are in an impossible scenario at this point in time. As the Cloud Drake is live, but it looks like Gen.G, they're just going to siege down this inner turret. No Baron required or anything like that, as they'll move back into the fog of war. I don't think SeolHaeOne Prince are going to be anywhere near defending this Cloud Soul.
No, that's easily going to go over to the side of Gen.G, and normally Cloud Soul were like, you know, whatever, but they have a lot of really important ults. I mean, every single one of them. It's not going to get them to a point where they're, you know, ulting twice in a fight, but at the same time, like, they're just going to have so many more opportunities in this game to, you know, throw out some ultimates and get them up really, really quickly. On top of, you know, following up a nice engage, as they did here. They threw it on the wall, and you can see Ixu is like, no, please, please not me, as he's the, you know, the quote-unquote tank of this team. They don't really have a tank, and he just immediately gets burst down by BDD's perfectly placed seismic shove. He is now 4-0-4. He made that Mordekaiser not found after that play, and he is just on a roll on this pick. It's really cool to see.
Yep, I think you've got an easy task ahead of you when it comes to POG voting towards the end of this game, assuming Gen.G are going to continue down this path of
Atlas
winning.
Wins POG vote.
I don't think I'm an option.
Yeah, you can win the COG vote, the caster of the game.
I don't know whether COG vote sounds a little bit like cognizance of, and that reminds me of my mathematics being terrible. So I don't think we're allowed to do that. As Ruler has a 2-level advantage now. Let's see whether they set up another 1v1 as the arrow is going to pierce through the two members of SeolHaeOne Prince. A wall comes down as well, but Kuma can just burrow his way out of it, and Mickey wanders to the north. That's going to be his strategy there. So a few ultimates now on cooldown. Because really it's just the Ram. It's going to be the option here for Gen.G starting a fight. Glacial Fissure as well, to a lesser extent.
And with the lead that they have, well, they actually might start a fight here.
Big flash forward there from Ixu, who finds the Death's Grasp as well as Ruler back against the wall, trying to just knock down Ixu. As soon as he gets out, though, he does make his way with the flash to safety. And now going to move back in as Hybrid's getting a lot of damage here with Sever and Crescendum. Don't really want to get in range, and Gen.G don't have to with the composition that they have. Now they're just going to continue corralling. Ruler now with a minion wave to heal up on. Immediate cleanse with the seismic shove. Not going to be able to get out of that one as BDD have to try and chase him down, but very fast is Hybrid. And Mickey now going to get booped back and destroyed. Wild Growth not going to be nearly enough health. As Hybrid had a lot of different ways to get out and actually utilized exactly what he needed to in order to survive that one. But the rest of the team not so lucky, unfortunately. So Ixu and Mickey both falling down.
Looks a little bit weird there with that interaction with the ward. Can't tell if that's actually denied by the control ward, and then the sweeper for some reason didn't disable it. So maybe that's a Death Realm thing.
Oh wow!
A visual bug. As okay, Ixu.
Okay. Don't think Hybrid's going to be surviving this one. Doesn't have a lot of summoner spells remaining, so he's going to be taken down The Rek'Sai as well, is a bit of an afterthought, is going to be destroyed as BDD hunting after Secret. Finds yet another seismic shove. The accuracy of this man on that ability is insane, as he finds the last threaded volley as well.
I think he's got 6 kills, no, 7. He's 1 away from Legendary. BDD is just having a blast in this game as Smite's going to come down, and then the Smite is going to come down on Sealed Spell, but pretty fun as you can see Ixu, he's trying his best. This is the best time to try to go for something like this, because if Ruler gets one more item, Ixu is never going to win the trade. And he's able to flash away. Ixu gets himself into a wonky spot. And even with Hybrid, you know, dealing damage to the front line, I love what Gen.G do. They're like, hey, everybody's kind of zoned or damage is not near. Let's back off and then re-engage. And that is exactly what they do. They zone away Hybrid and eventually chase down Mickey here. The amount of pick they have in their composition is pretty insane. As you can see, they just start the Dragon or the Baron here, and then their turn is just fantastic. The arrow comes out, knocks him off the wall. He's, you know, exhausted the entire time. There's nothing that Hybrid can do, and that just about does it.
Yep, Secret gonna fall as well. So they augment everything with a Baron. As we check it out, already 1.5k on that Baron power play, and it's an 8,000 gold lead. As Rascal looking for Ixu, and the Mordekaiser not even able to take down the Ornn here, as it's just a solo kill so easily.
Assassinated.
Assassinated by the Ornn.
Yeah, by the Assassin Warlock. Unbelievable.
He put extra points into his rogue class, I think. As the arrow is not going to land, but the Winter's Bite does. I don't think Mickey has much of a right to move up towards this turret, but still, Gen.G, they're going to find him. They are going to take him down without any hesitation whatsoever.
That Ziggs mode is so funny, actually. With the double thumbs up, you just like spam it in the face of your enemies as you're pushing in. They're going to go ahead and end the game.
Yeah, it looks like SeolHaeOne Prince, not too many options here as Rascal, with his home guard, is going to find the knock-up onto Hybrid, and he's taken down. The layering of CC is fantastic. Life is going to fall, as Ixu does put Clit into the Death Realm this time, and Gen.G decide that they're going to hold off on killing the Nexus because they want to pad their stats, and Ruler says thank you very much for the double kill, as finally he's going to put some arrows into the Nexus and win the game. Gen.G, a very comfortable Game 1 win. From draft to what they did on the Rift, things looked pretty easy for these guys today.
Yeah, I'm going to give my player of the game vote to BDD. I don't think that's really a question in my mind. He was really aggressive from the beginning of the lane and then was all over the place down the bottom side. Mickey, unfortunately, not able to make the teleport plays really work for him. There were multiple times where he had amazing stuns and great team fight play, but then also at the same time kind of just didn't do anything afterwards. He went for the GLP build, which does cut down on some of your damage, but offers you a little bit more pick, which I think I would have just gone full damage and tried to burst one of the squishies. So
yeah, and
also,
their setup for that was really, really good. But still, I mean, GLP will offer you a little bit more sustain, helps you in the laning phase, and also helps you be able to kite, which is super good as phase rush Talia just in general. So really good to see her back. And, you know, I say see her back. It wasn't her debut game. However, it was her debut victory. So I'm just going to focus on that. As yes, the Haro game yesterday, not exactly one that we really want to be repeating. But Gen.G looking really, really strong. And this is backing up from a couple of days ago where they were able to take down Damwon. That was a 2-1. But I think that one game that they lost was purely like Noguri finding the most god-tier engages ever on a cannon and basically solo winning the game. I think the other 2 games were definitely Gen.G just being a better team. So it looks like regular season Gen.G is still with us after spring. As, yeah, I mean, that graph, that shows a game under complete control from minute 1.
Yeah, pretty much. Not a single Drake went to the side of SeolHaeOne Prince. The Rek'Sai in this game got a decent amount of damage done, and I can understand how you want to go for Rek'Sai so you have some reach to, you know, burst down some of the squishies past the tanks, but
yeah.
got a little bit behind. He had that gank down on the bottom side, but then after that, he was kind of invisible. So maybe we can... I think that middle lead wouldn't have been so bad, actually, in that spot. We see it a lot against the Trundle, and he's very good on it, but decided to go for the Rek'Sai that game.
Let's see whether Kuma does have something else for us as we move into game number 2. For now, we're going to have a short break. We'll see whether SeolHaeOne Prince can bite back after this.